Season 1 of Master League is out, and with the changes they made from Season 0, this video is going to be all about my thoughts currently on the changes they've made between Season 0 and Season 1, and then give you guys a few tips, especially those of you that are free to play, to help you succeed and at least reach Master League. What's up, everybody? Fortexfiend here. Welcome back to another video on SD Gundam G Generation Eternal, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it here. I'm going to pop into the stage first of all, so that way we get to see everything about Master League Season 1. So I've already made it to Master League. Now this is on my whale account, and I'm currently working on it on my more free-to-play account. But here are some observations that I've made, which I feel Master League Season 1 is way better and definitely an upgrade compared to Season 0. First of all, the bonuses that you get from using the two specific tags, and in this one, you're going to be using both UC Series and Tough as Nails. Those are the two highlighted tags. The bonus you get is 50%. And the reason why this is really good is, for example, if you are a free-to-play player and you didn't pull too many URs, or you're holding off on a banner that you want to specifically save for, or let's say you've only pulled on one banner and you're still holding on to those resources, you are more incentivized now to use not only the development SSRs that you can get for free, but even some other SSRs that fall along the lines of the UC Series or Tough as Nails tag. And if you have those limit broken and even SP converted, they are objectively outperforming some URs that don't even have a single limit break, or even have just one limit break. For example, if you're running, let's say we're going to jump into the characters here, right? And we're going to filter. So, not Tough as Nails. We're going to go with UC Series here. And UC Series, by the way, if you are more on the free-to-play side, is going to be much easier to build around. So that is my personal recommendation if you're going to try to go a bit more free-to-play route. So for example, the G-Quux, right? Free unit, SSR. If you have this thing fully max limit broken and even SP converted, with the bonuses that you get, assuming you're using a warship that benefits the G-Quux, and also because the G-Quux is of the UC series, those bonuses stacked together alongside the upgrades is objectively outperforming like base URs and even some URs that only have one limit break, especially if you're coming across against, let's say, an opposing team that happens to run some URs that are not of the tags and they don't get that bonus. These SSRs are actually outperforming. So the increase they made from 20% to 50% is actually really good for free to play, because it incentivizes you, it makes it easier to build your party, and you can actually use units that are not of the UR rarity and still have a pretty decent chance of making it to Master League. So that's one of the things that I really like about this particular Master League, like them increasing the particular bonus that you get if you're using the specific tag. Not only that, but I really do like what they did with the two tags that they chose. So they chose a tag that's more universal. So again, it gives you more access to different team compositions. And then they chose one that's more specific. Now, Tough as Nails is actually a really good tag. However, you know, it's still more limited compared to UC series. So I really like what they did here, because in a sense, if you think about it, they kind of structured it to where, okay, those who are more spenders are probably going to lean more towards Tough as Nails because they likely have the warship. They likely have units that are UR that align themselves along that tag. And then those that are more like light spenders and free to play are definitely going to lean more towards the UC series, because the UC series roster is just that much bigger. So, you know, just some tips for free to play. I would definitely consider going with the UC series if you're going to be building around that. Utilize those free-to-play warships, because even though the bonuses are smaller, because the bonus now from using UC series is at 50%, you stack that on there and you actually use some of the free units that we get, you're actually going to find yourself succeeding quite often, even against some teams of like full URs. Like seriously, because I was observing that yesterday when I was playing through this with my whale account. I went up against some teams in the later ranks that actually had more free-to-play units, and my team actually almost lost a few times. It was actually pretty funny to see, and I was pretty impressed because I saw some really creative teams utilizing free units, and I was pretty impressed by their performance because they were fully limit broken, they had the tag bonuses, and they also had the bonuses from the warship. So utilize what you can. Now, in terms of which free-to-play units you should be using, the ones that I'm going to definitely recommend are the free G-Quux ones that we got. So G-Quux Attacker is definitely going to be one of your best choices to use. You slap Machu on here, you get those double chance step, which is awesome. Not only that, you could also use the Red Gundam as a fantastic support and debuffer. Again, most of you guys, if not all, are gonna have this fully upgraded with limit breaks, and if you have the SP conversion coins and you use them, even better, because like I said, they will be able to outperform those 0 or even 1 LB UR units. And then finally, we did get another G-Quux, which is a supporter G-Quux, and if you have this built, this is another one that you could definitely use as more of like a free-to-play option if you are lacking the URs to do so. Now, some other units that I could definitely highlight that I came across, and I'm going to be touching up on some Gacha SSRs too, because if you are free-to-play and you did pull on some banners, you might actually have access to these. So another one that I'm going to highlight is going to be the Gundam from G-Quux. If you have the free, well, you should have the free Char Aznable pilot, and you pair it with this is actually a fantastic defender. And again, if you manage to have some limit break upgrades on this, and then if you also SP convert it, this is another fantastic option that you could use if you are lacking some URs from the UC series. Another one that I could recommend that I saw that was used a lot is actually the Hyakushiki. This is a farmable unit, guys. It is of the UC series. You could get this thing fully upgraded, and if you choose to do so, you could also SP converted to level 100. It has a map attack, it has decent damage and good range, so this is another unit that is recommended if you're going more along the free-to-play route. And then another unit that I want to highlight that I personally went up against, I don't have it built on this account, but I went up against a fully max limit broken, full armor double Zeta Gundam, and this thing was actually pretty impressive. I was streaming it on my Twitch channel last night when this event came out, and I came across a team that was using this, and this thing actually put in work on the opposing team. I was pretty impressed. So this is another one that I could personally recommend. And then if you're going more of a route of like defenders, the Saikoro Gundam, which is the dice head. Let me see if I can find it. This is a fantastic defender that you could use. Now, obviously, mine isn't fully leveled up, but I do plan on using this as my defender on my free-to-play account, and I will have footage on a separate video showcasing some of the performances that I'm going to be showing with my free-to-play account with Master League Season 1. But this is one that I saw that was used that was actually doing really well as a defender, and a strategy that I did see that a lot of free-to-play players use was actually using multiple defenders, because it allowed their attackers pretty much free reign, which was pretty impressive to see. So those are some of the units for free-to-play that I could definitely recommend. Another tip that I have for you guys is really utilize the pilots that you have. So like, let's say if you're gonna go for like a UC series team, you have some URs and a majority of SSRs, it is absolutely okay and highly recommended to use a UR pilot in an SSR, mobile suit. Like, for example, if you happen to have, let's say, I don't know, like Setsuna, for example. Setsuna is a fantastic pilot, but right now his associated mobile suit doesn't have any tags that work with Tough as Nails or UC series. You could still use him in, let's say, one of your SSR attackers for the UC series, and that unit is gonna get a boost. Like, you guys have no idea just how powerful these pilots are. If you pair an actual powerful pilot, with let's say like a decently average suit, that suit is gonna get boosted. It's crazy. Not only that, for those of you that are free to play, if you happen to have access to some of the free to play pilots that we've been getting, try your best to get them at least unlocking their final passive, because if you do, it's going to make them that much more desirable to use and utilize them. Like, for example, Machu here, I have her at level 50. If I had her at level 90, I'd be using her even more. But if you have her like fully leveled up, she's actually going to be doing well, and she could definitely compete with some of even the UR pilots that you're going to be coming across on the opposing side. So definitely utilize your pilots. It is okay to use a UR pilot in an SSR suit, especially when it comes to this Master League PvP. And the last thing that I'm going to be touching up on before I cover one more topic about Master League is be sure to utilize the formation properly. And I actually was given some advice while I was playing through this last night. So if you go to rearrange, right? If you take a look at the positioning, you want to understand the maximum range of each unit and then position them accordingly, so that way when they actually move, they're not sitting ducks. And I was actually noticing this with my Striker Gundam, because I actually had my Striker Gundam in position 5 for the longest time, and then every time it would move, it would just literally move and not do anything, right? And then it was just a sitting duck, it was just a sitting target, but then I moved it to a different position where it was more along the lines like in the middle. It wasn't so close to the front where it would be like an easy target, because I wanted Striker to stay alive, but it was in a position where if an enemy unit moved before it and then it moved, it was able to be in range. And I'm going to tell you right now, Striker is probably one of the MVPs for sure in terms of attackers for this particular Master League Season 1. So that's going to be a little bit of my tips that I'm going to be sharing for you guys for Master League Season 1. I think this season is much, much better. They did take into account the survey results that they got from us from Season 0, and they definitely implemented it to make it a bit more free-to-play friendly. Now, I know you guys are going to ask the question, well, what should we be shooting for? Should we be shooting for 150k, or should we go for the challenge mode? If you're more free-to-play, unless you got super lucky with your pulls, I'm going to tell you right now, not worth gunning for the 200k. Honestly, that extra tag or that extra plate that you get, it does absolutely nothing for your account other than bragging rights. So if bragging rights is really your thing, then go for it. But honestly, in my opinion, it's not recommended. And if you take a look at the rewards right over here, like even if you hit like the lowest of the Master League, right? That's still 1,200 diamonds that you get, along with 1,000 of the medals, and you still get 1 SSR ticket and 2 regular tickets. And if you can see right here, the difference is very, very minuscule. But let's say you only made it to, you know, the upper echelon of the what is this, the diamond tier, right? You only get what, 1140? It's not that big of a difference. So if you think about it, you're not missing out on much. And also, these are all rewards that you could get from like other different game modes later on, or ones that they're going to be rerunning and things like that. So if you reach, like, as a free-to-play player, if you reach Master League, awesome, that's definitely your goal. But don't worry about trying to hit like the upper echelons of like 200k. I wouldn't even stress out about like honestly, for me, I'm not even going to try to hit that with my whale account, because for me it's not worth it. Like, it's just a title. I could care less about a title. All I care about is the rewards that I get from it. Now, last topic that I want to cover is who I think are the MVPs of this particular Master League Season 0. So in terms of defenders, I actually think that the RX-78-2, especially if you have it like max limit broken, is definitely one of the MVPs. I fought against a bunch of these, especially like in the higher tiers, and this thing was putting in work. I'm actually considering using this for like the challenge mode if I choose to do so, because this thing was putting in work, and it's able to like self-sustain and all that. And if you put like a double defender pilot, even better. This thing is very, very good. It has really good defense, very, very good HP. Highly recommend if you have this unit. This is definitely one of the MVPs in terms of defender wise. In terms of attackers, the first attacker that I'm gonna definitely say is an MVP is gonna be the Sazabi. Like, Sazabi is just so strong right now. In my opinion, it's still one of the best DPS units in the game. Second only to Strike Freedom. But you know, Strike Freedom is a limited time unit, and this not being limited, it's still shown to like have aged very, very well. So this is definitely going to be one of the MVP DPS. It has very, very good range. It uses it at maximum range, provided that the AI doesn't screw up sometimes, and it's a very, very solid option. Two other DPSs that I've noticed that have been putting in massive work is, the first one is going to be Easy 8. Like, this thing, even at 0 limit break, if it uses its attack on you, its most powerful attack, it melts away so much HP. Like, this thing is incredibly powerful for this particular Master League. Another one is going to be Striker Custom. This is another one that is very, very strong, that I've seen perform very, very well. The only thing is that its range is only at 3. So again, your positioning is going to be key when you're using this unit, provided that you do have it in your roster. And then the other one that I've seen that performed really well is going to be the Crossbones. This is another one of those where like it touches you and you will literally melt. So if you have it, definitely consider using it. But if an opponent has it, just be careful, because it's scary when this thing uses its most powerful skill and you just see how much HP it shaves off, even against like your own defenders. Speaking of defenders, one of the ones that I think is definitely underrated is going to be the Death Scythe, which has Tough as Nails. Now, this thing, there's some controversy behind it, especially with what they teased about it. But for a defender, it acts more as like a counter bruiser, because if it counterattacks, because its weapon skill has such a high power, right? It's at, 75, 60, and it inflicts attack down 35%. It hits pretty hard for a defender unit. And if you run this, let's say with a double defender, like I'm running it with Mika, for example, and Mika actually has a very, very good melee stat, it puts in work. And also the mitigation that it has, because it has such good defense, is pretty crazy. Like every time this thing covered for one of my attacker units, I was impressed with how much mitigation that it had. Like literally, like an attack would hit and it would deal like 18,000 damage, which is very, very small amounts of damage considering how much HP this thing has. So I think this is underrated in terms of like a defender. The only issue is that its range is pretty poor. So again, with this one, positioning is going to be key, but I actually found it to like perform very, very well. And then one more unit that I actually recommend that you guys consider using in terms of like support is going to be the O. If you happen to have this, it's also a very, very good unit. It has UC, it has tough as nails, very, very strong. So another one to consider using, especially with the debuffs that it does carry, especially depending on the type of attackers that you have in your party. But this one is another one that I definitely recommend. But all in all, that's going to be covering my video for Master League Season 1. In a nutshell, I think it's way better than Season 0. I think free-to-play players definitely have more options. I think it's great that they took into consideration the feedback that we gave from Season 0 and implemented a majority of it into Season 1. And hopefully they do release another survey, so then that way we can give more feedback and this mode of PvP can actually be improved upon, because I actually think it's really, really fun. Yes, the AI sometimes can act a little wonky and a little goofy. I had my moments last night on stream, but all in all, they're improving it, and I think it's definitely a good sign. All right, guys, let me know what you think down below about Master League Season 1. Share some tips, too. If you guys feel like I missed out on something or I missed out on a unit or a pilot, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.